Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this patch video for Thief Lord from the website Royal Road. This patch video will contain chapters 9 and 10, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing. Chapter 9, Knuckle Jabbers. You hit Pug, you die, little man. The creature screams as it lunges itself towards me. I immediately raise my arms to protect my head, but a swinging club intercepts the incoming monstrosity. Sensing the club, the creature deftly sidesteps, but isn't quick enough to completely evade the strike. A small spray of blood flies through the air as the creature quickly jumps backwards, clutching a bleeding arm. With some distance between us, I finally get a look at my opponent. From what I first thought was a horribly dirty and mutated monster, now I see as a nearly naked human man with an unkempt full beard and a long scruffy hair, wearing nothing but a dirty linen sack covering his torso and lowering his body. His feet and his arms are bare and his skin is nearly completely covered in filth. His hands are covered by several strips of leather braided together, with small metal spikes protruding with each knuckle. He raises his mean-looking gloves threateningly in my direction. "Who the frack are you?" I shout as I quickly get back to my feet, stepping back and behind my hoodlum. "Me, Pug," he bellows as he launches himself forward. "You little man, you die." The spotter throws out one of the knives directly in Pug's path. Seeing the hobo do uncomfortably close, the hoodlum steps forward and strikes on a wide arc, trying to keep the hobo away. Pug quickly backsteps, snarling viciously. "You coward, Pug, kill little coward," he bellows, spittle flying everywhere. The sky is giving me a serious creeps. I take a few steps back, making my way towards the entrance where it would be safe. Pug is an elite mob, which means he's several times stronger than the average monster. He may be outnumbered, but I fear that he might still be stronger than all of my underlings put together. It doesn't help that he is also level 3. While my underlings just reached level 2 alongside me. "Damn," I mutter, "if only I decided to get a combat-related skill instead of a blasted mentor skill. I might be able to turn this battle around. Right now, I'm pretty much useless." I find a good corner and I sit in it as I cast Comedian, covering myself in a thick illusion. I look back at the fight just in time to watch my cut purse appear behind Pug, driving his rusty dagger into his bag. Pug roars in pain as he swings around, catching the cut purse with a backhand slap, which sends the rogue flying into the stack of crates. Caught in a moment of respite, the spotter manages to land a crippling shot in a crazy hobo's leg, causing him to recoil in pain. The hoodlum sees the opportunity and charges towards Pug, intent on taking him down with a tackle. The pugilist sees this, however, and takes advantage of his evasion skill and leans away from the flailing arms of the hoodlum. As the hoodlum loses his footing, Pug strikes the falling underling on the side of the ribs, the spikes in his gloves stinking deep into the soft flesh. With both my melee fighters on the ground, my spotter starts to panic. He takes a few steps backwards, wildly throwing knife with each step. Pug effortlessly dodges the first 2 knives, but his rapid maneuvers put too much strain on his crippled leg, causing him to stagger. Unable to move, Pug raises his arms just in time to stop a third from napping his throat, the knife sinking deep into his forearm. "Pug will enjoy punching you, pretty elf," he roars as he starts stumbling forwards towards my spotter. Seeing the approaching lunatic, the wood elf quickly backsteps and throws another knife at Pug. With minimal effort, Pug deflects the knife with a flick of his wrist, listening to the knife bounce harmlessly off the floor behind him. "Pug will catch you. You die." With a rage-filled eyes, Pug stomps towards the spotter, who has been driven into a corner. He raises his fists in a threatening manner, intent on striking down my knife-throwing underling. Pug says bye-bye. He laughs maniacally as he takes the final step. His laughter is cut short as the cut purse appears behind him, stabbing the beggar into the side of his neck. He turns around, glaring at the rogue with hatred. He opens his mouth to scream, but only blood splatters out of his hand reaches up to the large wound on his neck. He throws a wide swing towards the cupburst, who quickly backpedals, unwilling to repeat the last encounter. Heavily injured, Pug is unable to keep up with the pace of my nimble rogue. Realizing he might go down, he decides to make one final push towards my spotter, taking him down with him in a blaze of rage. Turning around, his eyes go wide as a throwing knife buries itself into his chest, right next to his heart. The sudden impact causes the scruffy pugilist to stagger, dropping to one knee. His breath turns heavier as he struggles to breathe. "Pug, kill, die." He coughs up some blood, wiping it away with his shoulder. He tries to regain his footing when my hoodlum tackles him from the side, bringing them both to the ground in a tangle of limbs. Swinging his arms around wildly, Pug manages to shave off a few health points from my wrestling fighter, but my bulky henchman isn't taking it lying down. Activating his grapple skill, he locks Pug's torso in a vice-like grip, restraining both of their movements. He can't hold for long, but it gives the cupburst ample time to throw himself over the pair, driving the dagger deeper into Pug's chin, cutting it into his brainstem. With a final gargle, Pug's body goes limp. "You have slain human elite brawler Pug the Pugilist 3. You gain 50 experience. Chameleon has leveled up to novice 2. "Oh my god," I gasp, staring wide-eyed at the brutal scene, my heart slamming against my chest. That was freaking amazing! I had heard some fights could be especially brutal and visually pleasing, but I had never thought that I'd see it for myself. This is nothing like the fights I had with my necromancer, where my skeletons just swarmed over their enemies and struck them with weapons until they were enemy fell. What I just witnessed. Holy crap! That was some real savage stuff. I could almost feel the desperation in Pug's eyes when the cutpost stabbed him in the neck, and the determination on my underlings' faces as they worked together to bring down the much stronger foe. The amount of coordination and trust between them would amaze anyone, and the teamwork is hard to believe considering these guys are supposed to be egotistic criminals. Is this how most fights go? I admit that I haven't spent much time watching videos of other people's gameplay over the last 3 months, as I've decided that all my time leveling my necromancer. If this is the norm, though, could I sell footage of this online? Are people already doing it? How much money could I earn if I knew the video came from a thief lord, the most hunted villain class there is? I shudder at the thought. The potential for fame and money is immense. Could this be the shortcut to reach my goal of becoming rich? Or could posting videos online give away my strategy and location, and thus be a hindrance to me in the long run? I shake my head to try to clear my thoughts. This is not a decision that I should take lightly. This certainly not on a whim. The footage isn't going anywhere, and I have more pressing concerns. Walking over towards the corpse, a glint of greed flashes across my eyes. Having died more than 5 minutes ago, his corpse had already disappeared, leaving a small pile of items on the ground. Loot. Bending over, I snatch up the largest object unexpected. Pug's spiked Knuckle Jabbers, rare, plus 10 piercing damage to unarmed combat, plus 1% physical resistance, plus 1 agility, plus 1 dexterity, requires level 2. Whoa! My eyes widened. An enchanted piece of gear with not 1, but 3 different bonuses at level 2. That's unheard of. Usually, only enchanted gear that you get from under level 5 only has a single bonus and a single stat. The fact that these gloves have 3 bonuses is absolutely mind-blowing, and I wouldn't hesitate to declare them as overpowered if it hadn't been because of the uselessness unarmed combat bonus. They aren't that useful to me. But I still won't hesitate to use them though, as I more than welcome the free attribute points. Pug also dropped 2 silver and 6 copper coins. It's not the highest of rewards, but it's plenty for a lone player. A mob like Pug would usually require at least 2 skilled level 3 players to take down. The fact that I did it with 3 ungeared level 2 NPCs just goes to show how powerful my class can be. Satisfied with my decent haul, I have a look around at my ragged underlings. They're pretty beaten up, but they seem to be in high spirits after the battle of well fought. Well, as motivated as a bunch of brainwashed puppets can be, I suppose. They all sport a few cuts and bruises, and the hoodlum is bleeding heavily from a rather nasty gash that wound inflicted when his spikes penetrated his ribcage. Even now I can see the wound starting to close up, and the colour is returning to the hoodlum's face. I let them rest for a moment while I take a quick look around the room. I don't really expect to find any treasure around, but I can't help but bide by the gamer's code of conduct, which is to leave no stone unturned and no corpse unpulvered. I spent a few minutes rummaging around through the crates and barrels. I'm not too thorough, as it looks really nasty. I don't neglect to check them though, but I admit a few of the piles of filthy rags only get a quick glance and a short nudge by the tip of my toe to satisfy my curiosity. My efforts aren't completely wasted, as I do find 5 more copper coins and a painting with the number 15 etched in the corner, which is really just a vanity item for collectors. It's a pretty common item, but I still stash it in my inventory. Waste not, want not, and all of that. Finally, satisfied with thoroughly checking the place out with my underlings back to full health, I start heading towards the exit. I must admit, Pug was a tough enemy, and I'm not sure if the other thief lords could beat him unless they dumped all their points into charisma at the start as I did. Still, leaving just Pug as to guard the only exit seems a bit reckless to the Dark Pegasus Guild. I freeze. Oh crap. Of course they wouldn't do something that stupid, even if they think that they are the only ones who know about the sewers. Why would they have some sort of security measure here? Perhaps another perception-based guard? An uncomfortable knot ties in my stomach as a trickle of sweat runs down my forehead. Shaking my head to clear it, I immediately find a secluded corner in the room and recast comedian. I proceed to both have a hoodlum and cutpurse head back to the entrance of the room and prepare to escape if there is indeed a guard at the exit. I proceed to send my spotter head to scout the area. My plan here is to try and identify any potential opponents while using my other underlings as a diversion in case something goes bad. My comedian skill isn't exactly top-notch, but it is incredibly powerful, even against perception-based players at a higher level than me. I hope that any pursuing players will chase after my melee minions, neglecting to thoroughly check the room for anyone hiding. Who knows, maybe I can slip past them in the confusion. Watching as my spotter moves forward to execute a impromptu plan, a small wave of nervousness crawls down my spine. Fighting the rats and Pug was difficult, but nothing is more nerve-wracking than when there are other players involved. Not only do I have to make certain I win, but I also have to make certain I don't freak up and reveal my identity. Speaking of revealing myself, I had completely forgotten about putting on the villain's mask back on. I wouldn't do much if a really high-level player was here, but at the slight off chance that they do see me and I manage to escape, they will at least not be able to register my gamer ID. I waste little time in putting the piece of fabric on. The villain's mask is a cool-looking item, by the way. It's a special item that can be its appearance by buying cosmetic upgrades with in-game gold. It isn't necessary to do so, as it doesn't alter the item's functions in any way, but it won't mind changing it down the road when I have some spare gold. Currently, the mask is nothing but a simple black scarf tied in a way so that it covers the lower half of my face, sort of like the bandits of old Western movies. I gotta say, it's not a bad look for me. Not at all. The spotter reaches the other side of the room and turns around the corner, moving out of view. The second trails on as the room turns deathly quiet. At least, I don't hear any sounds of combat, and I don't see any red outlining of any potential enemies. After what feels like an eternity, the wood elf reappears from around the corner. Sighing in relief, I undo my spell and head over towards the exit. Making my way over, I steered headlong in the short tunnel, and I can clearly hear the sound of the ocean, and the natural light is stretching alongside the wall. Turning around the final corner, I almost walk face first into a thick steel gate, barring my path. "What the frick is this?" I exasperatedly ask, letting my shoulders droop. "Why the hell is this here?" The steel gate is several centimeters thick and covers the entire exit. The metal seems new, as there is not a single speck of rust on it. I take a step back, scratching my head. Who put that there? Okay, stupid question. Why did the Dark Pegasus girl put this here? Or are they out of their minds? This thing must have cost a fortune to install. A custom project like this must go over 1,000 gold at a minimum. All this to keep fresh thief lords from getting into the city. It seems so, excessive. Sighing in defeat, I slump to the ground and lean against the wall. I feel my energy quickly draining from my body as I massage the bridge of my nose. I should have known it wouldn't be easy. Glancing at the clock, I notice that it's already 2 a.m. With just an hour left until the virtual night time, I shake my head in disappointment. Perhaps I should revisit the wagon idea again. I mutter to no one in particular. I sit still for a few minutes, just getting random thoughts flow through my mind. If there was ever a time to get an epiphany, now would be it. I stare intently at the grate, hoping to steer my way through it. I'm just about to give up when a small chime rings in my ear. Anna Al Windrider writes, "Hey Ryan, how's it going? Did you get into the sewers yet?" My eyes widen in surprise as the direct message from Anna pops up in front of me. I had completely forgotten about this feature since I haven't really ever bothered to add friends while playing in-game before, for obvious reasons. Slightly bewildered, I quickly write out a reply. Ryan Norn Stabberton writes, "Hello Anna, I'm doing fine, thank you for asking. I'm indeed down in the sewers. Is something wrong?" It only takes seconds for her to reply. Anna Al Windrider writes, "Oh, good. I was afraid I was too late. We sort of forgot to tell you, but don't descend to the lower levels. There's a rare enemy there that is too tough for a level 1 player to handle on his own. So, be careful." I frowned. She should have told me that earlier. Ryan Norn Stabberton writes, "You mean Pug the Pugilist? I just fought the guy. It was a tough fight, but I managed to beat him. I'm currently looting his body." Anna Al Windrider writes, "What? Really? Wow! That's amazing, Ryan. How did you do it? Weren't you a crafter?" I hesitated for a moment, trying to come up with a plausible way for a low-level craftsman to defeat such a strong opponent. Crap, did I just say too much? Ryan Norn Stabberton writes, "A gentleman needs to have a few secrets." Anna L. Windrider writes, "That's mean, pouty face, but I get it. Just a heads up though, there's a metal grate further down the corridor from where you are. Whatever you do, don't touch the grate, okay?" Ryan Bourne Stabberton writes, "Oh, okay. May I ask why?" Anna L. Windrider writes, "My paranoid sister put a powerful self-charging trap at the gate. Anyone who touches it dies. And let me tell you, it's not a good way to go. So stay safe. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know I gotta go. See you." I glance at the large metal grate looming above me, just a few centimeters away from my hand. I quickly scoot away, trying to damnedest not to touch the thing. What the hell? It's booby-trapped. Jesus! I can't believe I didn't touch it. I always touch things. I'm not sure if I'm the luckiest or comically unluckiest guy alive. Putting a couple more meters between me and the grate, I once again slump to the ground. I take a moment to calm down, collecting my thoughts. After sitting still for half a minute, I acknowledge the fact that I'm achieving nothing here. I shake my head and sigh loudly, a small alert blinking in the corner of my vision, signaling that it's been a while since I last ate. Might as well, I mumble as I log out. End of chapter. Chapter 10. A Widow's Grief. I exit the capsule in a sour mood. I really don't like it when my plan falls together like that. I was so close. Entering the kitchen, I open my fridge and grab a box at random, opening it and chucking it into my microwave. While I wait for it to finish, I take a quick trip to the bathroom. As I unleash the waterfall, a calming sensation travels down my spine, allowing me to lower my shoulders and letting my tense muscles relax. Going to the bathroom does wonders for the psyche. It also has always been like that, and some of my best epiphanies have come while sitting on the fantastic ceramic bowl. So, what's my next step from here? Currently, I have 2 different plans to escape from the Noob District. Hiding a stowaway in a departing wagon might be my best bet, but I don't like my chances. If the Dark Pegasus Guild is paranoid enough to invest in €1,000 into making a thick steel gate in the hidden sewer, they probably won't be stupid enough to not carefully inspect every wagon departing through the gate. I don't think it'll get anywhere with that idea. The sewer escape seems impossible now, but a small voice in the back of my head isn't quite yet willing to let it go. The grate must have some sort of weakness, right? I frown as I grab my tablet and pull up a screenshot that I took earlier of the grate. It's a solid steel grate which must have taken half a ton of steel bars just to have it cover the entire sewer exit. Not only is it heavy and requires a whole lot of manpower just to move, but it would also need to have a fortune of in-game gold and connections just to get anything done. I don't think the player blacksmiths are high enough level to make the custom project like that yet, which means the guild must have hired an expensive NPC blacksmiths to do the job. Which begs the question, why go through all this trouble? Is it really worth €1,000 just to keep a few thief lords out of the city? Why would they care? The only explanation I can think of is that the Dark Pegasus Guild is somehow going to annex the entire city under their rule. There have been some speculations on the forums that players can indeed capture cities, but such an endeavor would be ambitious at best. Only the most hardcore guilds would try to make a power play in this early in the game. I didn't expect the Dark Pegasus Guild to be one of them. Have I gotten myself tangled up into something I shouldn't? The amount of money that they were investing in this game only confirms my speculations. I shake my head. Power play or not, it's none of my business. It could actually work in my favor. If they believe that they have completely isolated the noob district, it would only mean that I'd have an easier time leveling up if I managed to escape into the city. The problem, however, is to actually pull it off. The main problem is the trap Anna spoke of. As with everything in the Dark Pegasus Guild does, it seems incredibly excessive. Maybe if I can find a way to break the trap. Could I then use my minions to tear it down? Can I be absolutely certain that the trap is even real? I don't think Anna would lie, but it might all be a bluff. But then again, why bluff when no one knows about the trap anyway? I need to learn more about it. I gobble down my food as quickly as I can while I peruse the skill list for the upteenth time, trying to find out if there is some sort of skill that can save the day. Perhaps a skill that negates fall damage. I wonder how long it would take to level it up enough to survive a 50-meter drop onto rocky cliffs. Probably not. Re-entering the game, I find my avatar sitting just where I left him, on his rear, surrounded by 3 suspicious-looking homeless people. Not sketchy-looking at all. Nope. The fun thing about this game is that your character never disappears from the game world. It's an interesting feature that allows player characters to have a greater impact on the world. I really like the feature. In the early days of gaming, too many players could abuse the system and disappear and reappear at critical moments. It would be an incompatible system with this game though. If villains could just log out and disappear every time something got dicey, then it wouldn't be so hard to hide from the players hunting me. When my character is constantly present in the game, it makes it that much more important to have a series of hiding places. Regular players would just rent a room at a tavern or a guild house, but it's not that easy for villains. Well, I could also technically hide in a tavern, and I most likely will, but it would help me hide my underlings. Someone would definitely notice if a small army of criminals enters and leaves my room at all hours of the day. Playing as a villain is definitely like playing a game in hard mode. Luckily for me, at least my underlings can defend me while my character stands idly around. It'll take a bit of risk factor though, one that I'll have to work hard to avoid. But enough of that. What am I supposed to do about this darn gate? A small part of me just wants to give it a solid kick, but that would be just a stupid thing to do. I start by inspecting it thoroughly and seeing if there is any weakness that I can exploit. Since the game's logic is a thing, those efforts are wasted. The only semi-successful thing I do is putting a strain on my neck, trying to get a peek beyond the gate. I only see the final stretch of the tunnel leading outwards, and a small puddle of seawater at the bend of the corridor. I suppose that means that I'm at sea level. All that good will do me. The next part of my expert plan is to head back into the sewers to find a willing test subject for the super deadly trap that is supposed to be placed in the grate. Naturally, there are plenty of rats still left to fulfill that job. Wiping out another pack, my hoodlum grapples a level 1 sewer rat, which we bring back down to the grate, unceremoniously chucking it to the big lump of metal. We get a front row seats to watch the poor critter get electrocuted by what appears to be a miniature lightning bolt. So much for Plan B, I mutter, watching the still smoking corpse of the rat. The game's not giving me much to work with here. I start pacing around the small tunnel, looking around while my mind wanders. I don't see anything that's useful. There's a bunch of rotten barrels and crates, which wouldn't even be usable as a makeshift battering ram. There's a bunch of filthy rags, equally useless. The only other thing here, the underlings, and they're not like they can do anything to the grate. Or maybe... Nah, I give up. With a dejected sigh, I leave the grate and start heading towards the surface. It should be nighttime soon, so I figure I should try and get some shopping done before all the stalls close for the night. Players may not be able to sleep, but the NPCs still do. This is why the developers had to skew the in-game nighttime so much, since the players' density was highest when people were asleep in the real world, and they can't do any shopping if the shops are always closed. This also means that in-game nighttime is all about performing kill quests and dungeon diving. Coincidentally, that is also the best time for a thief lord to operate, since players don't skulk around the shops too much. Removing my villain mask, I order my underlings to stay in the sewers and guard the entrance. It should be the safest place for them, since hardly anyone is supposed to know about it. Exiting the sewer, my lungs inhale as if they've never tasted fresh air before, replacing the musky sewer air with the fresh salt air. Oh God, that smells nice, I mutter while grinning like an idiot. I've never been a fan of nasty smells, which is why I never bothered raising zombies when I was playing as a necromancer. I stand still in the shadows of the tavern, smelling freshly cooked meat drifting through the kitchen window. The sensual stimulation in the game is just so... The sound of rapid footsteps approaching breaks me out of my trance and causes me to spin around, staring horrified at the nearby alley. As my heart about to escape through my mouth, a familiar-looking dwarf appears around the tavern corner. "Oh, you little bastard!" I sigh while clutching my chest. "You scared me half to death." Staring at me with a series of expressions, the mute beggar nods once before the blue window appears before my eyes. "Your agent, Dwarf Beggar 2, has uncovered a secret. A widow's grief. Job type heist. Difficulty medium, ? Deadline 21 days. Rewards 150 experience. Unknown. 2 fortnights ago, Sergeant Joseph Davins of the Town Guards was killed on duty. Stricken by grief, his wife has found solace at the bottom of a bottle. Rumors have it that Sergeant Davins truly adored his wife, spending his meager paycheck on spoiling her with luxurious gifts and jewelry. The 2-story house stands empty and should be ripe for the plucking. Do you wish to accept the job? A Thief Lord exclusive job! I grin like a maniac as I read through the job specifics. Oh, my smile falters. I had similar sorts of quests when I was playing as a necromancer, and I still find it slightly creepy what they ask of me. I didn't have much of a problem stomaching it when I was plundered tombs or desecrating holy places, but robbing a widow of an honest man who died making the city a safer place. That may be virtual, but it's a tough moral pill to swallow for me when my dad is a retired police officer. It's not that I won't do it, though. Morals or not, it is still just a game. No matter how you look at it or rationalize it, it's not real. Some people may call it morally grey area, but in reality, I don't see it as a question of morality at all. The NPCs are fake, designed to be targets for my entertainment. The players all know that they're getting into, be it as a victim or the perpetrator. If you don't like it, then don't play. Robbing this grieving widow blind isn't, in reality, a bad thing to do, as it has no consequences and it doesn't hurt anyone. It would in real life, but here it doesn't. Making these choices while being aware of the consequences and repercussions doesn't make me a psychopath or even a bad person. I'm exploring the other avenues of morality in itself, and I would say that it's a good thing. Healthy, even. Losing myself in internal philosophical debates is a bad habit of mine, I'm afraid, causing me to miss the fact that I've been standing face to face with a hobo in the middle of an alley for almost 5 minutes straight. I dismiss the beggar to go out and keep doing his thing, but not before I tell him to report to me every 3 hours. Keeping a tight leash on my underlings is important to me during these times and early levels, since I don't have many of them, and I never know when I might need them. It would do me no good if the beggar got lost for days on end looking for jobs that might not even be there. Departing in the opposite direction of my beggar, I hurry towards the marketplace. I'm quickly burning daylight, and I really need to get some upgrades to my underlings or my own gear if I want to increase the success chances of my new job. You never know when things go sideways at a job, and that goes double for when you have everything to lose. The Noob District's marketplace is not far from the tavern, as they are both located in the same quadrant of the district. It hardly qualifies to be called a marketplace, though, as it's pretty much only 4 small stores placed around a small cul-de-sac at the northern end of the peninsula. Jingling my sack full of coins, I grin as I walk into the most popular store, Alf's Weapons and Armor. A store is managed by a burly dwarf named Alf. Big surprise there. The store is pretty much what one would expect from a medieval weapon shop, as rows upon rows of weapons and armors are mounted on racks lining the walls around us. Most of the expensive-looking wares are hung on the rack safely behind the counter, while the cheap stuff is closer to the exit. The store is starting to empty in the late day, and there are only 2 other players in the store as I enter, both haggling ferociously with a stout dwarf behind the counter. Waiting for my turn, I start perusing some of the wares around the shop while I subtly eavesdrop on the haggling trio, the 2 players looking oddly familiar for some reason. "These prices are way too steep, sir," a human paladin wielding a 2-handed mace says. "It costs as much as 2 days' work peddling crates. It just doesn't seem fair." "Fair?" Alf snorts. "It took me 2 days, that craft and that beauty. Don't come here and selling me that load of horse crap, boy." Huh. I'm slightly surprised the little dwarf isn't speaking with a Scottish accent, as the common fantasy trope dictates. I am not sure what the hell sort of dialect he is talking, but it's surprisingly fetching. "But you're just an NPC," the human frowns. "Don't bother, Kevin. If you anger them any further, he might just double the prices." The other player chuckles, and I notice the short dwarven paladin wielding a copper mace and a dented wooden buckler. "Just pay the man so we can head out and do some combat quests." "But he's ripping me off," Kevin sulks, glaring back at Alf. "Yeah, but that's the life for you. If you were at better prices, I suggest you spend one of your skill points in a haggling skill. You're not getting anywhere like this. Now hurry up. The store closes soon, and you won't find another store to sell anything in until the morning," the dwarven player says, gently nudging towards the door. "But," Kevin starts, but is quickly cut off by the dwarf. "If we don't hurry, we won't have the hope in hell of joining the Dark Pegasus Guild." The dwarf crosses his arms, tapping his foot impatiently. Sighing deeply, Kevin relents. "Fine, have it your way. Take my damn money, you old bastard. I hope that you choke on it." Kevin grits his teeth while handing over 2 gold coins to the shopkeeper. "Pleasure doing business with you, boy." Alf grins while swiping the coins out of Kevin's hand. "Now shove off. I've got work to do." He scowls at the players. Glaring at the merchant, the 2 players exit the store while Kevin curses heavily under his breath. Right before he closes the door, I hear Greg's chuckling voice. "Calm down, Kevin. I'll buy you a pint of ale at the tavern before we head out." As soon as the 2 players exit, Alf turns his attention towards me. "Now, little halfling, what can I help you with?" He shows a toothy grin, revealing a set of yellow teeth, with a lone silver tooth catching my eye. I smiled back to the dwarf. "I'm glad you asked." End of chapter. And that, my friends, concludes this batch video. If you enjoy the story, please don't forget to go and show the author some support. And if you wish to support this channel, there are links down below. The easiest way to support this channel would be to subscribe and share as much as possible to help this channel grow. And I'll see you all in the next video, and until then I hope you all keep well and safe. Cheers.